Hey folks, Jeff from Corrugated Cavalier here. Today I am coming to you with part 2 of the video on the 1809 method of handling the spear or pike out of Portugal. Some Napoleonic era stuff here. If you haven't seen part 1 of the video, I'll link that above. That covers some of the historical context as well as just the basic stances and attacks, pretty much. Okay, once again, thank you to Rui Ferreira of Espada Negra. I will link their stuff below. He did the translation, possibly with some other members of the club as well. And I loved going through this. There aren't a lot of resources out there for this period for like infantry type stuff and spear especially. So I thought that this was really a great resource and I'm very happy to be working with it. Yeah, so the first thing that we're going to talk about some tactics and basically for regular foot combat, and then also some cavalry tactics. And then we'll go through a military drill as well. And it's just my interpretation of it. I'm not really like a military scholar, especially Napoleonic era. I did a little bit of research, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so just some notes on tactics first. Basically, it sounds like there are 3 ranks of pikemen typically. I don't think he ever says that explicitly in the text, but he talks about 3 ranks pretty frequently, the author does. And here is one point where the author does talk about 3 ranks. The author says that the class 2 pike heads, which are ones with some cutting ability, which this would not be one really, are in the vanguard or front rank. And then the 2nd and 3rd ranks are the pikes, basically. And he says when they're readying for an attack, so if everybody's pretty much just in the natural guard that the manual talks about, the 2nd rank takes a half of a step to the right, and the 3rd rank takes a whole step to the right, basically so that your spear is not going to poke the guy in front of you in the head. We have gunners on the flanks, he says. So spearmen in the middle, gunners on the flanks to cover them, presumably. Okay, so that's kind of the context for the formation for a military battle. And if they're training in ranks, this is a military drill we're going to go through, the one that's listed in this manual. Once again, I am not an expert on this stuff. I found a channel on YouTube that's pretty cool if you're into this kind of thing, that does Napoleonic reenactment, but British, and it's the Napoleonic Association. I will link them below. I checked out some of their stuff and how they do drills just to kind of get a flavor for how militaries of that time might be doing things. I know it's British and this is Portuguese, so I was just kind of trying to draw some of the flavor and crispness and regulations for their stances and stuff like that. Okay, so let's get on with this drill. So I'm going to start in shouldered arms, and my heels are together and my toes are pointed out. The manual doesn't go into this. This is probably something, and I don't know if this is right. I'm taking this from the Napoleonic Association video. It could be a more natural stance. It could be feet totally together. I don't really know, but I'm doing this. The soldiers would know this, so the manual doesn't really go into this. And I'm having my spear off the ground and on my shoulder for reasons you'll see later. Once again, don't know if this is right, but this is what I'm going with. So this is in shouldered arms, and my hand is at my side. I've got these nice stripes on my pants to work with. And the first command is apresentar as armas. Sorry for my pronunciation. I'm pretty much just going to go with Spanish pronunciation. Okay, so this says left hand to right shoulder height, and you pass the spear forward, and the left hand should be at chest height, and the right hand should be at belly height. So this is my representation and interpretation of that. That's apresentar as armas, or present arms. The next command is armas no brazo, or shoulder arms. And basically that it says it comes to place very fast, and the left hand comes to the side. So I'm doing that. It could potentially be to the ground too. I don't really know. But I'm keeping it off the ground for this reason. It then goes on to say it must be ordered to come to a rest for some amount of time. So maybe this is just a longer resting posture, I'm not sure. And it says that this is a 3-count action. So from armas no brazo, that's where I'm going to go from. The first count is grip the shaft at shoulder height with the left hand. The second action is the right hand goes over the left to grip at head height, and then the third count is spear to the earth, left hand to the side. And I'm getting a nice percussive thing on the ground here. If you had a bunch of soldiers doing this on a harder ground, you could imagine that kind of sound with all of this. So once again, if I'm at shoulder arms, if this is a 3-count action, I will go left hand, right hand, earth, and left hand to side. And then it says armas no brazo again, and I'm a little unsure here. I think it's just to go back to the regular armas no brazo, because it says this timing is achieved by undoing the actions, which we just did, basically. So to do that in reverse, I'm going to go left hand here, right hand underneath, left hand back to the side, and the spear up on my shoulder. This does make it more natural to go into the natural guard in a couple of steps. The next step is Advatencia, basically attention or warning. And if there's no weapons check or presentation, it says then the drill is unified. I take that to mean then you can move on with the drill. The next command is engar, which is right foot back, and you go into the natural guard, which is, I'll put up a picture right here. And while you're doing this, the gunners load. So for this stuff, I'm going to turn to the side because it's a little bit more important to see the guard here. So we're in natural guard. The next command is atirar, which means throw, which basically means attack. So there's my attack with a lunge, and the typical one is in this high, hands high position, and the spear shaft is guarding my right forearm. And then it says to return to natural guard. So I return to natural guard. The next command is guarda alta, which is high guard, and I'll put up a picture of that as well. But you come here with the legs slipped behind and the hands high. And then the next command is atirar, which is throw. So I throw again. And it doesn't say to return to natural guard here, but since it said to after the first one, I'm going to presume that we come back to natural guard. Plus it just kind of feels natural anyways. And then the next command is guarda de segunda. So this one, the left foot actually has to pass behind the right. We want the right foot forward, and this is primarily for the cutting pikes. And I'm going to actually be aligning it with my left shoulder and have it up like this. So I'll turn to this side just so you can kind of see that. And then the command, once again, from here is atirar, which means throw, and you're bringing it down on top of the enemy's heads if they are advancing. Wham! And then you come back into natural guard after that. And so here we are in natural guard. Now, the next command is avanzar. So the manual says earlier that you can either do it like this with without passing, or with passing, but it does constrain the body a little bit more. But you gain more ground, basically, right? By using passing steps. If you need to turn back, it says that you have to go to armas no brazo. So I would go to shoulder arms, my left hand at my side, and it says you must turn to the right. And once again, I'm taking a tip from the Napoleonic Association videos here. They kind of just do like a heel turn almost. So I'm going to take this foot here, my right foot here, bring my left foot around, and then I can turn back. So that's really the drill. I would assume you could go to armas no brazo or something like that afterward. But it does mention some stuff about going into a worship position with your weapons, and that is kneeling with hats off. So considering they say worship, I assume that this is some kind of prayer or some other solemn event. I'm not going to go into that. If you want to check it out, go find this manual. It's on the Academy of Historical Fencing website, and you can read the PDF at your leisure. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to talk about in this video are the cavalry tactics. So the first thing that it says is while horses are approaching, we go into the high guard, which is this. And that's presumably, from what he says, just to scare the horses, it sounds like. But after that, the first rank gets down into the cavalry waiting position. So the spear is in the earth. The second rank, which once again would be a half step to the first rank's right, is in the throwing position. So they should also be over their head. And then the third rank, which is another half step beside the second rank, is in high guard. So to the right of the second rank and presumably at least kind of over their head or around head level. And this will just, sounds like, create basically a wall of spear points for horses to get through. Then after that, it says once you don't need to be in that position anymore, all three ranks will rise and go to Armas no Brazo, which is just shoulder arms again. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed working with this material. Once again, thanks to Rui Ferreira and Espada Negra for this cool resource. I really enjoyed working with it and hope that I get to do some larger combat spear and saber stuff in the future to put this to use. I have also done a bunch of videos on Fiore Spear. I'll link those up above if you're into that kind of thing. So that's more knightly spear, if that's what you're looking for. Yeah, thank you guys for coming by the channel. Thanks to Espada Negra. Please click like, subscribe, share this around to people who might find it interesting, and be good to each other. Adios.